The Grim Reaper raised his scythe, ready to harvest the little girl's life. But at that moment, the scythe suddenly broke. The little girl turned around and noticed the Grim Reaper fascinated by the scythe in his hand. However, mortals were not allowed to touch the Grim Reaper's scythe. The naive little girl knew nothing about this. So, while the Grim Reaper was not paying attention, she secretly touched the handle of the scythe. Instantly, the scythe turned into a puff of smoke and disappeared. The Grim Reaper was very angry. Now he had to find a new scythe. The little girl suddenly thought of a place, and they set off together. Along the way, the little girl seemed to have endless things to talk about until she accidentally tripped over a vine. The Grim Reaper hid behind her, snickering. Suddenly, he felt that this noisy little girl might not be so annoying after all, but the little girl's revenge came quickly. This time, it was her turn to laugh at him. For the first time, the Grim Reaper felt that work wasn't so boring. Soon, they reached their destination, a long-abandoned church. The little girl pointed to a sculpture ahead, and the scythe he had mentioned was held in the sculpture's hand. The moment the Grim Reaper saw the sculpture, he was instantly in despair because he wanted a scythe that could reap souls, not a sculpture that could only be looked at. Seeing the disappointed look in the little girl's eyes, the Grim Reaper decided to use his power to take the scythe from the sculpture's hand. The Grim Reaper merely placed his hand on the handle of the scythe, and the sculpture obediently slowly released its grip. With the scythe in hand, the Grim Reaper raised it and struck the ground heavily. The stone on the surface of the scythe instantly shattered, and a brand new scythe appeared before them. At this moment, the church bell suddenly rang. The little girl said she had to go, otherwise the nun would scold her badly. The Grim Reaper's hand, holding the scythe, stopped once again. He, who was dedicated to reaping souls, did not have the heart to do it this time. It turned out that the little girl was an orphan, but she did not want to return to the orphanage at all. She disliked it there. She begged the Grim Reaper to take her away with him, but the Grim Reaper refused. He said he had other work to do and could not take her along. His voice was so gentle, warmer than anything the little girl had ever experienced. Before leaving, the little girl suddenly returned and hugged the Grim Reaper tightly. This was the first time someone had been willing to listen to her talk so much. She reluctantly let go of the Grim Reaper. She had to leave. Otherwise, only beatings awaited her. As she walked to the church door, she suddenly turned her head and asked the Grim Reaper if they would meet again, but the Grim Reaper did not answer. The little girl left. At this moment, a horse-drawn carriage suddenly passed by outside the ruins. The Grim Reaper slowly turned his head upon hearing a wailing sound, only to find that the scene he was most unwilling to see had still happened. Perhaps this was fate. It was destined that the little girl would not survive today, and it was also destined that she would leave this place with the Grim Reaper. This time, the Grim Reaper did not refuse her.